it's unfortunate. Your part of the world where you are. Talk about Central Eastern Europe, the Balkans, Southeastern Europe, even Greece. I'll put into that, and then we can kind of include Moldova, Ukraine, Turkey, Georgia, Armenia into this section. I think right now is the most fascinating stories to tell in terms of the wine world because there are a lot of forgotten grape varieties, interesting grapes, and great wines being made. Unfortunately, the wines are not price competitive when they become exported. You cannot, but your family produces wine. You're not going to compete with inexpensive Portuguese, Italian, and French wine. It's just impossible. And the quality, it's just impossible. And people can't get them. And then the pronunciations are so difficult. That's another thing that holds it back. But some of these grape varieties still at my heart, like you see a lot of, I started out like this. Now my channel, because this is what I do full time, has to be about wines that people know. My heart still lies in some of these obscure parts of the wine world. I think these grape varieties are so exciting, and people that love wine really need to explore these countries and check them out because they're great wines and great stories to be told and to be heard.
And something new to hear, because I'm not saying that the old and classical wine regions we should move away, and because those are like the icons, but it's always good to hear something fresh and learn about. I'm curious, what do you think? What would be the best strategy for these wine regions? What to focus on? Because as we know, the New World wine regions are more about grape varieties. Classical Europe, the Old World, was more focused on the wine region's name, on chateaus, on the wineries brand. And as I can see right now, Central and Eastern Europe is trying to pick up this New World style, and they are focusing on grape varieties. And probably this in my opinion, not the best strategy. What do you see? What would be the best strategy for these wine regions to focus on and to get attention?
For as a purist, I like the history and stuff, but unfortunately, appellation system doesn't really matter for even some big countries. Like in Italy, how many appellations actually matter? Barolo, Barbaresco, Brunello di Montalcino, Chianti Classico. There's so many appellations that don't matter whatsoever. I know what you're saying, but unfortunately, it's not the old world anymore. Like even in the old world, it's all new world techniques. I think New Zealand is the great, Austria, obviously, Wine Austria is the model for the government in terms of Central Eastern Europe. They're focusing a lot on Grüner Veltliner or Blaufränkisch. I think New Zealand is a great model to follow because New Zealand realized that they could not make wine at scale. They had to make the highest quality one. They have the highest export price per bottle in the world. New Zealand does overall because they're just going to make some. There's no cheap New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Of course, some get super expensive, but they're usually in a more premium price category. And we're talking, sound funny to some people, but $15 and up, which is actually technically more of a premium price type of category, especially in Europe, and making fantastic wines and selling them. I think I do see in Eastern Europe because I spent a lot of time there. It's such a catch-22 because a lot of Eastern Europe, you're in Romania, for instance, local market is voracious in Bucharest, and they want big Bordeaux blends, maybe blended with some Francesca Negra. Same as Serbia, want high-quality Bordeaux blends. Hungary's a little bit different. Hungary, the market's kind of a little saturated, but in these new emerging regions, the local markets are so good. So what are the producers? They have to make money. So what are they going to do? They're going to make Bordeaux blends, and they're going to sell them. I do think if you have countries like Moldova that have to depend on export because there is no local market. So they're going to have to make varietal wines and figure out okay, for me, I love Rara Negra and Francesca Negra from Moldova. Okay, we're going to make that. One of the best wines in Moldova now that has export value is a blend of Rara Negra and Francesca Negra by Fator. I think Serbia is coming along. They're going to eventually find they'll have to do that with Prokupats. Maybe Hungary could do that with Furman. Unfortunately, Furman is not, like we talked about, not as marketable, not as sexy, not as easy to drink. Hungarian wines in general, they high acid, more mineral driven, not as fruity. So that's tough. It's not an answer you and me like to hear, but I do think to focus on a variety or two and be a varietal driven wine, that's probably the way to go. You look at it, wine names are so confusing, especially I think the Italians are the worst. The labels and the names have so many words on them. People have no idea what grape they're drinking, what region they're drinking. So if you want to make an identity for yourself, varietal wines that are good quality, that are not cheap.
Easier to approach.
Exactly, 100%.
Thanks for watching this video. You can watch the full podcast episode by clicking here, or watch another interesting video by clicking here. Let's continue the discussion in the comment section and see you in the next one.